fire officials have confirmed that the fire in Parliament has been contained. The fire, which was started on Sunday, let me not say which was started, until they give us more. We deserve more in terms of how the fire actually started. The fire, which started on Sunday, flared up again yesterday and briefly this morning. There are now growing calls to get to the bottom of how this incident even happened. Let's go live now to eNCA's Monique Mortlock, who is outside Parliament. So, Monique, let's start with an update from the Democratic Alliance. The DA saying that the business of Parliament has to get back up and running. What other key points came out of John Steenhuisen and Natasha Matsone's briefing earlier on?
The DA was talking about the fact that if there was indeed an attack on our democracy, as National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Qakula alluded to yesterday, saying, she too in that briefing yesterday, saying that if there are distractors or people who had deliberately attacked Parliament, then this is an attack on the democracy of our country, and that necessary steps need to be taken to ensure that those accountable are brought to book. And this is what DA leader John Steenhuisen also said, and he said that his party is going to be working on ensuring that the business of Parliament goes on, and that includes the State of the Nation address and the budget speech. He was telling us that Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis has made the City Hall available, as well as the Grand Parade, and also the city's own chambers, council chambers for parliamentarians or MPs to use if needs be. Western Cape Premier Alan Winde has also made the Cape Town International Convention Centre available for use by Parliament. But the DA was saying that this may not even be necessary. We can still continue with our work virtually. We can still conduct meetings on Zoom, on the various virtual platforms, as we've been doing throughout the pandemic, that what you see behind us shouldn't be a setback in stopping MPs from doing their work. Let's just take a listen to Steenhuisen as he was addressing the media earlier today.
If this is, as some are suggesting, an assault on our democracy, well then the very, very best reaction will be to ensure that democracy does not stop doing its work. And so the focus for us over the next few weeks and months has got to be on how we get Parliament's business back up and running as seamlessly as possible. Because that's how you deal with people who try and disrupt democracy. That's how you deal with adversity. You get straight back up again and you get back to work. It is absolutely important that the people's business is not derailed by these tragic events of the last few days. What lies behind us is the ruins of what was the repository of a great deal of South African history, some priceless artifacts and literary works, some priceless works of art, but also it is the crucible of the national debate. It is where history has been made, it is where our country transformed itself into a democracy, and it has also been the scenes of some of the best times in South Africa, but the scenes of some of the worst times in South Africa. And we hope that like a phoenix rising from the ashes, our Parliament too will rise from those ashes.
To use a sport metaphor, Aisha, we are all now glued to the VAR to sort of see and look back at what actually transpired, what happened. And part of the view from that VAR that we are collectively looking at is that some, including the DA, are saying that there has been a lack of security at Parliament.
Yes, Sulas, and before I get to that, I want to show you or explain what my colleague Mario Pedro is showing you right now. We've been seeing firefighters on that roof and on the upper level of the National Assembly building, the new National Assembly building, and this is of course the building that's been the most severely damaged. In fact, the fire officials have told us that the majority of the inside has been completely destroyed. We've been seeing firefighters on top of the roof conducting some work there, looking as if they are checking what is still remains of the roof, how that looks, and really right now it's still an unsafe area. These firefighters behind me, they need to declare that the the area or the precinct is safe for MPs who need to conduct walkabouts, for them to do this. But a little earlier, Natasha Mazzoni, the DA's chief whip, she was saying that they are just flabbergasted by how this could have happened, and they alluded to the fact that over the last couple of years the security at Parliament has really been lacking, and it's just been getting worse over the years. She was saying that as a female MP working long hours, when she goes down to the basement leaving her office at night, there's hardly no security at all, no police officers on patrol. So they were also speaking about that those two forensic reports, the one by auditing company BDO that was commissioned last year following a fire in March at Parliament, and those reports had apparently recommended various measures that Parliament needs to take to ensure mitigation of fires, to ensure that security, safety and security measures are beefed up. And the DA says that this wasn't done, that Parliament failed to do that, Parliament's management. Let's just take a listen as the DA's chief whip, Natasha Mazzoni, speaks to us about those apparent security lapses here at Parliament.
So what I did find interesting was the leader of the opposition this morning had a tough time getting into Parliament, but normally you can just walk through and anyone can just sail through. So I don't think that there has been a significant beefing up. The Speaker was incredible in that she phoned me immediately when she found out that there was a break-in, and she said that she would get the police on the case immediately. 5 minutes later, my whole office had been dusted for fingerprints. They checked CCTV footage. But as Saviwe has said, we haven't had a security officer on the parliamentary precinct for 5 years. It's only been an acting security officer. And there's a difference between the SAPs and then parliamentary security. And we must remember that. So at night, if you come to this Parliament, it is very difficult to see or find a policeman, and it is very dangerous. And the female members of Parliament have complained numerous times that they cannot walk to their cars that are in Hope Street or in Darling Street, even downstairs in the parking lot. I'm a big girl, and I'm a bit nervous when I walk down to my car because there are no police around. So I think that over the last 10 years there's been a significant slide in the amount of security and the seriousness with which security is taken in our Parliament.
All right, thank you for that. That's an update there from eNCA's Monique Mortlock outside Parliament, giving us an update on the situation around the fire, as well as the post-mortem, as it were, that is now really starting in earnest. The rear view mirror, trying to see what went wrong. How on earth did we end up with Parliament destroyed in the way that it did? And I can tell you now, we are far from getting any definitive answers.